Hey everyone, and welcome back to Crunching Your Growth. I'm Phil Masiello, and today I wanted to do a show just strictly devoted to Amazon because there's so much misinformation out there, and I want to cut through the noise about what's going on. Tariffs obviously are tightening margins, customers are shopping smarter. Cosmo, Rufus, they're rewriting the listing playbook. And to make sense of it, I brought in an expert, a guy named Pasha Kanish. He's the CEO of AMZ Optimized, 13 plus years scaling FBA brands with systems and not just fairy dust. So here's what the run of the show is going to be about. We're going to talk about what worked, the tactics that are still paying off post Rufus, the stall where brands are losing momentum, uh, contribution of margin, vanity rankings, things like that. And then the fix, what you have to do with how you attribute, how you build your listings, your images, your pricing moves, in an effort to restore growth. So we want to really focus on how to operationalize this weekly uh, uh, video about, or this weekly show about, selling on Amazon, not just heroics, but the process. So grab your notes. We're going to turn uncertainty into an advantage. And I'm going to bring in Pasha, and he's going to talk about what's going on Amazon and still how to win. Pasha, thank you for taking the time to come on with your expertise about Amazon.
Awesome, Phil. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me back to the show.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, you were on once before. We talked a bit about Amazon. We talked a bit about brand growth, but now what I'm seeing is a lot of misinformation, and what we're experiencing is a lot of misinformation because it winds up in the client's uh, inbox too about certain things that people are out there pitching about what to do on Amazon, and then they call us up and say, "Why aren't we doing this?" And you say, "Well, that's not really what's happening." But so I thought, you're more of an expert in it than I am at this point. So maybe you could bring some clarity to it. Let's talk about, I think we should talk first about the first thing that everybody's experiencing is what's happening with tariffs and what that's doing to pricing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a macro environment, right? And everything is influencing everything. So you have the tariffs, you have inflation, you have people trying to avoid raising their prices, but they're getting squeezed. Their margins are getting squeezed. So volume goes down and other competitors come in. And it's also something to keep in mind, which is kind of shocking, but you would be really surprised to know what percent of third party sellers on Amazon are actually Chinese sellers.
Right.
It's a lot, like way more than you'd think. I don't have the statistic off the top of my head, but it was something like half or maybe even slightly more, slightly less, around the halfway. So that's a lot,
Yeah.
right? And when you think about Chinese manufacturers, they have the best price, of course, right? There's no middleman involved in everything. So they have many advantages, and they drive the market down when you think about all of the tariffs and inflation and everything. So it just becomes very difficult to sell on Amazon. And then when it comes to the misinformation, I think everybody's trying to figure it out, right? It's always the truth of the matter when there's a big technological revolution like we're seeing today. So right now, AI is changing and evolving. Amazon is trying to be part of the race, like every other big company, right? Everyone is the AI thing is exponential. So companies who are behind even a little bit get further and further behind, right? So you have to do something smart. You have to do something to pivot. So everybody's trying to figure it out. I think that the only way that you could really get ahead is through experience and trying things. And just back on the tariff thing, I mean, don't be scared to raise your price. I think that's what it comes down to because you're gonna lose your business if you don't.
That's a good point. We have a client, and they panicked this morning because they had no choice but to raise prices. They sell a high quality food product, and the glass bottles are subject to a tariff, even though they fill in the United States. They're bringing the raw materials in from all around the world, not necessarily China, but still your glass bottles, tops, things like this, all the components you don't think about, boxes, etc. And the costs are creeping up. And on top of that, their product is subject to whether or not there's growth. How the harvest comes in. It's olive oil product, and so high quality. And so they're getting squeezed, and they had to raise their prices by $2.50 a unit. And they got a message this morning from Amazon saying your prices are you're going to lose the buy box because your prices are too high.
Um,
They don't have anybody else selling their particular product, but at the same time, I understand what Amazon's trying to do. But there has to be some flex because people do have to raise prices. They can't just eat it. And on top of that, Amazon added new fees this year. They said we didn't raise fees. No, they didn't raise fees, but they added fees that weren't there before. So you're 100% right. People have to raise prices, but they have to do it intelligently. And the one thing that I keep preaching to our clients is it's you have to raise prices, but at the same time, you also have to show more value. So maybe there's things you can do. It's very easy in the personal care side to add value because you can take like a shaving system and you can start adding a small thing of shave oil or different things and so you're adding like components to it to make it more valuable, so to speak. So
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I think whenever you raise the price, it's a value proposition thing.
yeah.
And so maybe like you and I have been on the Amazon game for a very long time, and we've seen how the marketplace has shifted. So let's say 10 years ago, lowest price was always king. That's what people came to Amazon for. They want the lowest price.
Right.
Now with all this branding and brand discovery, people are willing to spend a couple extra dollars, but they just need to know why are they spending the extra dollars.
Right.
So as long as you're showing the unique selling points, everything, focus on the content, make content improvements, focus on reading the negative reviews and what are people actually complaining about. Fix that and then make sure that people know about it in the listing or curb their expectation. If people are complaining about something that you can't really change about the product, let them know ahead of time so you don't get negative reviews. But all of this is to say, all right, there's transparency and this is what you're getting. And so sometimes it's going to be a high level or mid level option. Yeah, sure, there's going to be other options. You can get the cheapest olive oil on Amazon or wherever, and but that's not what you want. Maybe you're looking for something that's premium. It's like local harvest from this part of Spain or Italy or wherever they're growing it. And so
Yeah.
you talk about the farmers and the process and sustainability. You focus on those types of things. Don't focus so much on the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot of times people take for granted um, the A plus page area where you can talk really about the value of your product more so than you can with just by in your bullet points and things. There's prime real estate in there that a lot of people just I think sort of bypass. So yeah, I think it's about value. I think you're 100% correct. The other thing is, what's your take on the changes with Cosmo and Rufus?
Yeah, that's a big one. And I have two quick slides I would like to share.
Yeah, sure.
Um, so yeah, actually, let me just share my screen real fast. So what we can just kind of breeze over it, but I'd love to deep dive.
Yeah.
So first thing, let me know if you can see that. It,
Uh,
it didn't come up very
Hang
quick.
on. Let me. I got it. Hang on one second. Let me show it. Wait.
I lost you. 1 second. Pull it up again. Somehow there was an error there.
Yeah.
All right, let's try that one more time.
Sure. Put it up and I'll add it.
All right.
Yeah, there it is. Let me see what the best way of doing this is. No. There you go.
All right. Let me know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see it.
So this is a quarter 3 earnings report from Amazon that was recently released,
Yeah.
and I found this pretty interesting for those who haven't seen this. So what this is basically saying. So for those of you who don't know, Rufus is Amazon's AI powered shopping assistant. So you would go on and you can ask it questions about maybe matching different products together and comparing them against one another. You can ask specifics about the product if you don't want to scout through the entire listing. And also, it even has access to, similar to many of these AI tools today, access to the internet outside of Amazon. So it doesn't just exist within that realm. It can do research on the brand and on the product and get information from the brand's website, for example. So what this is saying is basically that they had 250 million active customers this year, the actual assistant, and the users are growing, interactions are growing year over year since they've rolled it out. So they're seeing good engagement with it. And they're also saying this is pretty significant that customers using Rufus are 60% more likely to complete a purchase. So, if you're getting support from Rufus, then you're getting the data that you need in order to make an accurate um, purchase, and buying behavior changes. So right now they're actually on track to bring in to Amazon over 10 billion in incremental annualized sales. So I found that pretty significant. Um,
Yeah.
uh, so it's pretty amazing. I think it's the future, like many things. If you many of us are chatting on, with AI or Chat GPT and doing shopping through there. I know myself. I almost don't even use Google anymore, right?
No.
Because when you're shopping, it's just like, all right, well, like for example, yesterday, I needed to attach my shop vac to my sander, and have like a special, specific hose attachment. And instead of like, how long would that take you normally to figure out the dimensions and everything? Here is just I got it done it with AI in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's what Rufus is. It's their native, kind of integration. And here's another one. This is about Cosmo. So now Cosmo is a little bit different than Rufus because this is more about search. So there's another pivot, and I think this is where a lot of misunderstanding comes. It's more about the Cosmo than the Rufus thing, and the reason why is because we're moving away from keyword based to semantic based search, but it doesn't mean that keyword based search is gone. Like when you go into Amazon, you're still typing in keywords and search terms and you're still going based on that. But Amazon now has so much information, and especially like if you think about if you're shopping at Whole Foods and you're watching Prime Video, and all of that is creating some kind of a customer avatar within their system. They know your purchase behaviors, they know your viewing behaviors, and probably more information as well. They start to understand who you are, your demographic, and very specific details about you. And so, based on and also about many others, and they're building like an aggregated data source. And so, once they start making, pattern recognition and putting dots together, they're able to serve you what you're actually looking for based on the time of the day and or the time of the month or the year or whatever, and all the things that they've known about you. And so they put that all together and deliver you the results, paid or not paid, that are most likely to convert. Because remember, Amazon's goal always at the end of the day is to improve their rate of conversion and make more money for the time that is passing. And so they want to maximize that as much as possible. And so what this is the buyer intent map. Credit goes out to Ano Padiaru. Uh, Sorry for butchering the name, but she's an official Amazon educator, and I follow some of her work, and I found this to be pretty amazing. So many of us in the Amazon community are kind of trying to reverse engineer because Amazon doesn't tell you these things. They
Right.
release some kind of a scientific paper one time when Cosmo came out, and they're like, all right, this is it. And most people are like, what does this even mean, right? So we actually have to reverse engineer and come up with this. So these are, many of us are in agreement that these are the primary things that you must answer inside of the Amazon listing if you want high likelihood of being registered by Cosmo. So again, Cosmo is going into Amazon's database because Amazon is basically just, you can look at it as a very dynamic and humongous spreadsheet of information that is being constantly updated and renewed and refreshed. And so when somebody puts in some kind of a search, whether it's going to be taken in the semantic sense or in the keyword sense, Amazon is going to try to scour this giant Excel sheet to find the product that is most likely to match what you're actually looking for. And so
Right.
you have to make sure that all of this is being answered. And I'm not going to go through all this here, but that does include the front end and the back end. So something that I'm working on right now personally, I'm trying to build software to help solve for doing this, but mostly focusing on the back end part because I feel like that's where people miss a lot. And there's certain valid values that Amazon provides to you. Like if you were to go into Amazon's browse tree guide or simply go into the UI, of Amazon and go into the back end of your listing and look at some of the drop downs, they're giving you the terms that they want you to select from. You can definitely in some of those fields write something different.
Yeah.
I'll stop sharing. You can definitely write something different, but you're not going to be registered as well as if you were to select the valid values that they provide.
Yep.
So it's about being relevant. It's about selecting from the back end the correct terms, and all of that kind of comes together. And then when Amazon goes to select what product somebody's actually looking for, they're looking at the back end, the front end, and probably, like going back to the Rufus thing, and not probably, for sure, they're looking at other information on the internet. This is where really the game has changed as well. And this has been proven by many people. They're going into your website. And so, like, when they're doing, like, a good example that's easy to understand for that is when they're doing a price match. Why some people are like, why did I lose the buy box? Right? You just said that nobody else is selling my product. I've never sold, liquidated anything wholesale. I've only been a private label seller, but I'm losing the buy box to myself. So who are they price matching against? Many times it's yourself just listing somewhere else, right? On your website or on walmart.com. And now they're doing a price match because the UPC is matching. They have their ways of doing that. So it's the same thing, that they're looking at information that is also external to Amazon in order to get to the result that they want, which is to deliver the most amount of revenue for the shortest amount of time.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, that they're going out looking at. I mean, they've always gone out and looked at, compared you against, compared your product against pricing if you're selling on walmart.com or target.com or Walgreens or wherever your product is. And they've always sent you little notes about, your pricing structure. But this is a totally different game with Rufus, because now they're basically going out and looking at the information that's available outside everywhere. So if your brand is strong and you've got a great website and you're showing up very high in ChatGPT search or Perplexity search or Gemini search, not just Google search, then they're pulling all that information in. So what that tells me is that you have to be consistent with your information across all platforms. You have to treat Amazon as an extension of your website. You have to treat any place you sell as an extension of your website. It's got to look the same, feel the same, say the same things. You can't treat it like different things. Well, I'm going to do this on Amazon and I'm going to do this on my website.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think when people are making a purchasing decision, they want to see that parallel branding. Just from a visual standpoint, like, if I see blue and green on your website and then I come onto your Amazon listing and everything's yellow and purple, and I'm
Yeah.
like, is this even the same product, right? And
Yeah.
so once you start questioning that, you know how people are, their attention spans are very short. The moment
Yep.
that there's even a question mark in your head, you're just like, find something else,
Yeah. It
right?
doesn't look the same.
So you have to have parallel branding, and the same thing, you have to have parallel information, parallel pricing. It shouldn't be that people are like, this is missing a nutrition label on Amazon, so I'm going to go out to your website to try to find it. It's like you're making people work too hard, right? You
Yeah.
have to have everything available everywhere, but in some cases something gets lost, or there's in a field or whatever it may be.
Yeah. It's a good point. Um, what, what do you think that the tactics are that are working now? Because like when you look at it, Rufus came out, I think, about a year and a half ago, but that was just sort of the answer engine, right? The interface.
Hmm.
But Cosmo didn't really come out till the beginning of this year, which is the search engine. So it took over for the A9 algorithm. It really became the algorithm. So Rufus is interfacing with Cosmo, but I don't see a lot of people that have really made adjustments to their pages or to the way that they're doing business or to take advantage of it. I feel like people haven't taken the AI search thing, even on their websites, as serious as they should. And I think you're going to see a lot of brands fall behind. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole AI thing, because many people are having these questions on Amazon and off Amazon, this is like SEO 2.0,
Yeah.
right? Because, like, people are saying, hey, how do I show up in ChatGPT? How do you show up in Google? Because
Right.
where's ChatGPT pulling from?
Yeah.
So it's just about having the relevant information and having the back end metadata, all of that stuff that's like boring, nerdy, infrastructure level things, all of that has to be filled out. So back in the day, people were doing what we would call keyword stuffing, right? And
Right.
for some weird reason, that's what it was working. So you would go into your listing and you'd be like, I'm selling a toaster, and it's two whatever. Okay, I'm selling a stainless steel spatula. Make it easy. And then you put stainless steel spatula, stainless steel, and the spatula is good for flipping pancakes because it's stainless steel, right? And that would be great because you said stainless steel 500 times in your listing, and Amazon's like, oh, this is very relevant. Now people are like, okay, that doesn't work anymore.
Right.
So what do we do? So we focus more on the conversion side, and we put the keyword somewhere. And now you have the Cosmo thing, which is okay, that's true, but now you have to answer the questions that this system is going to query against. So that's why that buyer intent map is there, because as long as you're answering those questions and making it simple for the system to pick up on it, that's how you're indexing yourself for the new updated system. And it's not that Amazon just went ahead and flipped the switch overnight and everything switched from A9 to the Cosmos system. They're rolling it out incrementally, testing a lot. So they're doing A/B tests and seeing is there any improvement. And what they're seeing is both on the Rufus and Cosmos side, there are incremental improvements for them. Even a 0.1% improvement in conversion for Amazon translates to millions, if not billions of dollars. So they're rolling it out slowly, slowly, incrementally. They're also learning a lot of things. So we'll see this being integrated more and more. And now Amazon is releasing a lot of tools, and they're attempting to help sellers to get ahead by making AI improvements. Right? They're giving you like this AI image builder, which still sucks. Uh, and it will suck for a while. Like they will be always, sorry, Amazon, a few steps behind the things that you have externally. So don't. I personally would not try to use their system. I would just go ahead and use the other models that are available that are a little bit more cutting edge, like Gemini or like even OpenAI. There's many others, and there's always there's a flavor of the month. There's always a new model that people like to prefer. And
Yeah, I mean AI is changing every day, so you have to just stay on top of it. And like you said, there is no clear answer yet. There are things you have to do. You have to answer those questions. We know that that's the foundation. But Cosmo, Rufus, they're continually updating it. They're continually changing it. The same thing with ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini. Everybody's changing and improving every single day. Image creation is improving. I've not been a fan of it because I think it looks fake, especially when you're trying to sell authenticity with your brand. I find that some of the images are just too fake looking, but it's coming around. I mean, I did see some images the other day, and I saw a commercial. Now I can't remember what the product was for, where they put on it. It was created with AI. It was one of the insurance company commercials, and they had all these different animals. And I thought it looked pretty good. The Coke commercial that Coke did over the holiday last year, which was AI created, I thought was pretty good. It's not that kind of thing isn't out of the realm of authenticity when Coke does it, because they've always done those sort of animated holiday polar bear things. So using AI just sort of fits with their brand and what they've been doing with it. But I do think that some of the content that people create with AI is subpar, and they have to really think about creating really great content if you're going to use AI, or a blend of real content with AI enhancements to make sure you don't lose that authenticity. Because I saw a statistic the other day that it was over 60% of consumers, when they see an ad that's AI driven, or an image that's AI driven, that they think is AI created, they discount the brand and walk away and won't buy it. So you have to be a little bit smart about how you use AI when it comes to that type of thing. There's plenty of other places. We use AI for editing on video. We use AI for some content generation, headlines and ads, things like that, and it works really, really phenomenal. We do use AI to give us ideas for generating listings and listing content, but you still need human eyes on it. You still need somebody to go and make sure that it's good. But I do think these changes on Amazon are going to continue, and we're going to have to continue to react to it.
yeah, Yeah, it's evolving. Everybody's still figuring it out together. On the content stuff, I did a presentation last week on a webinar that we co-hosted, and my presentation was about like, do you need a photo shoot anymore,
Oh yeah,
right? And so I think that it's getting very close. Like I'll say that last year, nah. Now it's getting much better. Next year, definitely it'll be even closer. So like the stuff that we're seeing with the VO3 models or Sora 2 from OpenAI, like
yeah,
all of these video generations are becoming incredible.
yeah,
They're way past the thing where people have like six fingers and deformed faces. Like
yeah,
now it's gotten so much better. And so like in the presentation, I don't have it in front of me here. I can probably look for it, but just kind of summarizing, if you want to skip the photo shoot, an easy way is to take either a photo from your phone, or maybe if you have something already rendered with a white background or a photo with a white background, you could just, like, for example, I used my shampoo bottle, and then I found a great photo from Amazon of a competitor shampoo. It
yeah,
was like this gradient background with like a model holding the bottle, and there was like a shadow. And basically, I told the system, I used Gemini in that one, and I said, hey, combine these two things together. And it basically created a very unique but similar style
yeah,
photo shoot like version of somebody, putting their hand out and holding my shampoo. But the problem was that the label sucked.
yeah,
That's the issue that we're having today. It's 2025, and the 2025 labels are not being generated properly. And I
yeah.
don't blame them, because there's like little nuances that you have to like zoom in. It's very hard to do it. So all we did was we took that and we photoshopped the proper label on top. And I'll say that, okay, that took whatever the designer spent 30 minutes photoshopping a label.
Sure.
But imagine how much money we save not getting a model and a studio and lights and blah, blah, blah. So it's still much better. And so, like you said, I think that using AI to enhance certain things with content, and you can actually take that infographic or that photo shoot type image, and you can plug it into another model, like I mentioned, VO3, and you can say, hey, turn this into a situation where this person is opening the cap and squeezing the bottle and lathering the soap, and it will give you something very close. And it's not that that's going to be like the primary of the video, but you'll be amazed with a couple clips like that, and there's like some motion happening, and there's some words coming onto the screen highlighting the unique selling points, and there's a little bit of video editing in there. People are not so focused on like the little nuances of that video and where the AI has messed up. They're focused on the unique selling points and the dynamic of the video and how they feel. And I feel like that can get you 80% of the way.
Oh yeah,
So what that means is, to me, is, yeah, if you're looking to test concepts and you're looking to A B test, or you're looking to just like launch a brand without an enormous budget, you can do so much today. Like, this technological revolution that we're in is lowering the barrier of entry on so many levels, but at the same time it's also raising the standard. So you kind of have that dynamic together, where it's difficult to compete because everybody has, it's like leveled the playing field in a way, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So really the only ones that can rise to the top are ones that are truly focused on quality, and I love to see that.
yeah. I'll tell you what we just did because we manage this brand. It's a an electric shaving razor. It's got a unique rolling head, and it's a unique product. Anyway, but not just for images for the website or for Amazon do we need content, but we need content for social media and advertising and things like that. So we always need a lot of content. And we did do a photo shoot uh, for the product, but we did the photo shoot in a way that we got the product on different types of materials and backgrounds, that with the intent that we're going to be able to take these 20 images that we had from the photo shoot and turn them into 1,000 images using different AI tools and different video tools. But at least the actual product image is high quality. So now you can do things with it. Like you can add people to it. You can have people shaving. We did have a couple of images with with people using the product. But now you can turn that into so many different things. You can put them in a car. You can put them in a, in different scenarios. So we're sort of taking that approach right now of, instead of trying to do it from scratch, get the high quality images done, get 10 of them done from a photo shoot, and then turn that into 1,000 different images and a couple of videos. So that's been a little bit helpful. And we did make a few videos using a couple of the products out there, Sora and another one, Promo AI, and a few other things, and they came out pretty good. I was surprised. The still images, I'm not, the still images, taking the high quality image and then putting different backgrounds on it, I think is flawless. Whenever you start to put words on, it
Mm.
gets very wonky. It just doesn't. It takes a long time. And yeah, you're right. Then you give it to Photoshop, and you Photoshop in what you want it to be. So,
Yeah.
but you're right. It definitely levels the playing field, and it definitely saves money, because we would normally, like last year, we were doing photo shoots with the product every, I think, once a month, and doing 20, 30 shots every time. So you run that for the whole year, and you think about how much you're spending just to get content for ads and social media and all these other places that you need it for, in addition to your listings, in addition to what you're doing on your website. So
Yeah.
it
I
definitely will save us money.
I think that's a great idea. Actually, I never even thought of that. So do the photo shoot if there's budget, but then use that as the primary route and just create variations off of it. So that way, because with I always hear like with Facebook, oh, we need 100 new creatives a week, a month, or whatever it is, depends on the size and the volume. But that's what it is, right? Because the system wants new creative all the time to keep things fresh. And then like, how do you just have photo shoots going on nonstop, right? So
Yeah, it gets crazy, because you need, if you're doing anything with a brand on TikTok, you need video every day. You got to do it at least once a day, if not twice a day. And then you can use the same video, just change it a little bit, use it on Reels, use it on YouTube Shorts, put it on Facebook. But then when you're doing still images, you need to have it's something going on every day. And so, yeah, it gets crazy. I mean, when you think about doing it, and you got all these channels that you're working on to try and get it going, and you've got 30 days out of the month, you really need a ton of creative. And and then you need to do more video work, because video today, they're not paying attention to static images as much as they are video, because it's more dynamic, and they don't really want to read, and they don't want to stop and read. So it's an easier way of doing it. And obviously, user generated content, once you get a couple of pieces of user generated content, you can sort of repurpose that. But yeah, you need a ton of content to stay relevant. And then when you're doing ads on top of it, you can't really use the same content that you're doing posts or videos with. You've got to sort of do that a little bit differently. And then, you've got to change your ads every month, every 2 months, because you've got different holidays or different events or different whatever. So you start rolling that up. Content is expensive to produce. So that's what my solution has been, is that we purposely did this particular photo shoot to with the intent that we're going to take these 20 base photos and try and turn them into 100 or 1,000 different pieces of content. And so far it's working pretty well. So I'm happy about what we've been able to accomplish with that. It'll get to the point, I'm sure, where I saw this. There's a couple of really dynamic tools that you can use for a camera, and people are becoming their own photographers in a way, because I think that's another piece, is the technology of content creation or image creation is also coming down, that cost. So you can really get a high quality image of your product even off your phone, because iPhones, especially the new ones, or Google phones, they're the cameras are outstanding. People are shooting commercials with them. So there's a couple of different tricks. There's a guy who has a YouTube channel. and he's a photographer, and he talks about how to do this and how to the tricks. And anybody who's doing podcasting, or anybody who's doing, videos or anything, right? You've got lights, you've got background, you can do it yourself, and thus save yourself a tremendous amount of money. So
That's amazing. I had the same experience where I had a photographer friend, and they know all the specs and right contra. I don't know what even the terminology is.
yeah,
H30
yeah,
whatever. There's like all these like numbers that showed up on the screen. He took my
yeah,
phone, and it was like, yeah, this is like almost the same as his professional camera. So it's like unlocking the actual camera itself. I feel like most people don't even know what, you just get your new phone and you start taking pictures. You don't do anything, right?
yeah,
But you can regulate all of that stuff. And so it's amazing. That's exactly my point is it's leveled the playing field.
yeah,
There
absolutely.
there's an abundance of information through AI. There's an abundance of technological capability. And so now there's no reason why people can't try and do new things. And back to your initial question about tariffs, like I hear all of this, like people cry about tariffs. Tariffs are mostly in China.
Yeah,
Find other countries to source from. It's not a big deal. Like I know that China is definitely dominant. Okay, they have infrastructure, but there's also other issues with China is that they can copy your product unless you have IP. IP is very expensive, and now you have the tariffs, and so by the time it comes over here it's not the same price anymore, right? So yeah, they're doing that to incentivize people to build in the US, but there's other places, and manufacturing has infrastructure has been improving consistently over the years, and now you can source out of other places in Asia. You can source out of South America or Africa or Europe. Like the world is your oyster, right? So if it's import, then who it doesn't have to be from China. So, like for example, my brand is based out of Thailand, and we also have to pay tariffs, but it's not as crazy as with China. And I've sourced out of Indonesia and out of India, and in the U.S. as well. So yeah, just think outside the box, like use these tools and use creativity and test new things. It's very easy to get started. There's many places that are willing to sell you a small amount of product. You can create a brand with AI very quickly. In the US, you can start a business very easily, right? Low barrier to entry. You make an LLC and a trademark, you know what I mean? Like you need a couple $1,000 and you can start a business and test a concept and fail quickly and move on to the next one until you hit it, right? Instead of just like dumping like hundreds of thousands
yeah.
into pushing your way through.
Yeah, it's a good point. No, I've always been a fan of every business I've ever done. We've always manufactured as close to home as possible, because not just because of tariffs or the stigma with getting things from China or whatever, but more importantly, if I'm manufacturing close to home, and we did a beauty brand and our manufacturers were close to home, well, here in the US, in Florida and North Carolina and places like that, because I don't have to buy, you know, a container load of product. Number one. Number two, uh, I I can turn it around faster. So if something starts happening, like you have a great Prime Day, you have a great holiday, you can replenish quickly because your manufacturer is so close, and you're not air freighting things in or putting it on a boat that takes 3 months to get there. When we were in the shaving business with our own brand, we manufactured here in the U.S., which was unusual, but it worked out really, really well for us because we could turn around inventory very quickly. And to me, having done startups before, cash is always king, and you want to make sure that you're churning your cash rapidly, because it doesn't matter whether you're profitable or not. Profit is sort of a abstract number. In reality, you can still have positive cash flow and have negative profit, have a profit loss. But cash flow, you always want to try and keep positive. And one of the biggest killers of cash flow when you're in a product business is holding inventory. So if you can hold less inventory, turn it faster, sell it before you have to pay for it, you're building cash, and now you're in a really good position. And so that's why I'm always in favor of trying to do things as close to home as possible.
Yeah, and what kind of terms can you like push for? So if you're manufacturing in the US, I guess that's what it comes down to. Like that's the so-called hack, right? If you can sell the product before you even have to pay for it, then you can grow that business very fast, but you have to work out certain terms with the supplier to do that.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of e-commerce in a way. That's one of the things I fell in love with early on was the fact that if I have inventory today, I'm selling it today, tomorrow, the next day. So I'm constantly selling, right? Whether I'm on Amazon or whether I'm on my site, I'm constantly selling. And so I'm constantly generating cash. So if I can get 30 days, 30-day terms or 40-day terms or whatever, and I can sell the bulk of it, I'm paying for it in 30 days. But, I've been selling the whole time,
The
so.
issue that I had, full transparency, I'm actually in the process of selling my business, and this is exactly my pain point. This was the thing that I struggled with the most was the turnaround of inventory because my product was shipped over from overseas, but then co-packed here in the States. And so there's a processing time overseas, then it gets on the water, then you have to wait, then it gets to the facility here, then there's co-packing. By the time it gets to Amazon, it's been months since the moment that you placed your order. So we're placing far ahead, 5, 6 months in advance. And when you do that, first of all, you have to front all the cash in order every step of the way. But then you eventually get it and you start, working it. And then you have lending partners. And so yes, you're profitable, but your lending partners are charging you percentages on top. So it's not true cost of goods sold because then you have to at the P&L in the end you have to factor in how much you spent on interest to pay all these lenders for the inventory and everything. So I agree with you. Cash is the thing that will build you momentum, even if you're making a ton of profit, but you always have to buy more inventory to sustain the momentum. So revenues are growing, profits are growing, numbers look great on paper, but in your pocket you're always empty, right? Or you're even, you have a hole there. So that was the issue for me, and that was the thing that was very difficult. And so that's why, yeah, my next venture is like, I mean, staying as close to home in the U.S., Canada, Mexico. I think that's nice, right? Imagine, I mean, the border is right there, and there's so many good quality things that are being produced there, which are unique, and people go to Amazon to buy and find unique things. After all,
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I It's really difficult to when cash management. People don't put enough emphasis when you start a business on cash management. And I think I coach a lot of entrepreneurs, and one of the reasons is they have this idea that I'm going to go out, I'm going to raise a ton of money, and money's not going to be a problem. And money is always a problem. Even when you get a lot of money, you always want to manage that money. You want to make sure that you're managing your cash to extend your runway, because in the beginning it's always hit or miss, right? You don't know what's working yet. Your first 5 years, going from zero to say 5 or 6 or 7 million, you're still not out of the woods. You've always got to make sure you've got to be conservative with your cash. And like you said, if you're factoring your POs or to free up cash, there's a cost that goes along with that, and interest rates and things. So managing cash is always key. Even on Amazon, you got to manage your cash. There's entire guys out there, businesses that are helping you manage your cash on Amazon. So
yeah,
yeah,
and having a bookkeeper, I don't think is enough. And
no,
that's where the whole concept, that's the beauty of like a fractional CFO. Highly recommend somebody like that for every single business. Like I think it's
yeah,
been phenomenal for me. And it wasn't until much later in business that I started working with one who also hopefully will be able to do your bookkeeping as well. So that way you can have a grip on what are the numbers. Because many business people, we're good at the thing that we're good at. Nobody wants to like go back in time. And so if you have somebody that's keeping track of your finances and saving all of your invoices in one place, and doing a P&L every month and having a conversation with you about the reality of the numbers. Because also we become sometimes a little bit delusional as business owners, especially if we're looking at numbers that are different than what our financial people are telling us, because there's money coming in and out of your bank, but there's also the numbers that, like, you go on for Amazon, it's like seller board, whatever P&L tool. So it's like, no, but look, my revenues are high, but it's like, yeah, but look at this and look at that, and we have this expense and that expense. It's not shown through Amazon's API. And anyway, financial management is the blood of any success.
yeah, I agree with you 100%. We're coming down to it, so um, coming down towards the end. But what do you think that the keys are for uh, sellers today to navigate through this? Because again, you've got pricing issues, you've got competition issues, like you talked about. For everybody that's out there, there's probably three or four Chinese sellers out there selling product. And so, how do you navigate through this today?
Well, if you go to, okay, many businesses and Amazon sellers are looking for an eventual exit. And for
Yeah,
many of us, that's actually the payday
yeah,
is, because we keep putting more money in to grow the thing, right? And we don't really see that money. We can't live off that money until we get an exit. And so if you go to one of these brokerages, they're going to tell you, what's your moat? That's what I've just experienced in this last 1 year looking for a buyer and going through the M&A process with my brand is what's your moat? What's your moat? And that's the thing that will really help you to stand out. That's the thing that will highlight your unique selling points and your position in the market and your market fit overall. And that's the thing that will protect you in the long run from other people copying you because don't forget, you are a spotlight.
yeah,
So the moment that you start making any kind of money, everybody knows about it because everybody has helium 10 and data, whatever, data this and smart that, right? And everyone's just like, oh, look at this guy. He's making 50K a month. I could do that. And,
right,
and I'm going to look at his negative reviews and I'm going to make a better version and I'm going to sell it under a similar name, whatever.
right.
So, what's your moat? How can you protect yourself? And there's a couple ways to do that. You can have something that nobody else can do because you have some kind of insider information,
Yeah,
not in a illegal trading way, but just you know the market, you know the game that you're in, and it's something that you're like a specialist in. Let's say you're a doctor and you know something very specific about the way that bones work or joints work or whatever, and you create a related product because of your ability to understand the product, understand your consumer, your audience, and design it with those specifications. Other people would have to be doctors in order to do what you're doing in order to get that same success, right?
yeah,
So there's many things like that, many different variations that we can go into, but you need to have some type of ability to differentiate yourself aside from price. Because everybody's focused on just, oh, I have a better price. I'm selling the same spatula, but mine is cheaper by 5 cents.
yeah,
That's not going to get you very far. And I think the world of selling those types of basic commodities from China is very gone. You can't just slap a label anymore and expect it to run. You might get lucky with some kind of TikTok influencer going viral with something, but it's very few. So you that's the first step is with the product selection and differentiating factors. And then from there it's about presenting them efficiently, filling out all of the modules that Amazon gives you because there's many of them and you should do all of them. It's what we talked
yeah,
about earlier.
yeah,
Back end, front end, storefront, A plus, video. Now they have a new brand story module where you can add video too, so you don't have to have premium A plus to have video in your A plus section because they have like this enhanced brand story thing. So fill out everything. If you don't know what to do, find a helper, find an expert, find a freelancer, whatever you need to
yeah,
do, whatever
yeah,
your budget is. Find somebody with experience because Amazon is a difficult platform to get your head around and figure out. And sometimes Amazon gives you pushback and you don't know why. And there's different category issues. And you're selling supplements and every single word is making you like, you get flagged and you go back and forth with Amazon until you give up. They want to squeeze you, and they want to get the juice out of the turnip, right? So work with somebody who knows the game. And then from there, once you have a differentiating factor, you have good content, it's representative of all of your unique selling points, and your pricing is in a good spot, advertise. And not just throw on some auto campaigns and cross your fingers. You have to really understand what you're doing. And in a nutshell,
yeah,
that's just about finding keywords that make sense, that are relevant, and also decent search volume. Find the ones and extract the ones that are doing very well and just scale them. Put them in their own campaign with an exact match and put a high budget on it. And don't put any other keywords in that campaign. Just focus it. And so you can adjust it up and down. And then if that works, make a video ad. Use the language in the video ad to match exactly the audience for that keyword and what they want and who they are, and then just scale that too. I just keep going, and then there's options like DSP and whatnot. So those are the primary pillars. And very last thing is don't run out of inventory,
yeah.
because if there's no inventory, there's no sales,
There's
and
no
you'll
sales.
be surprised how many. I'm sure how many people are running out of inventory when they do everything perfectly. Rank drops. They do a Black Friday deal. Oh, 20% off, no problem. Then they sell out, and then the rest of quarter four is screwed because Amazon won't receive their inventory in time, and then they're just catching up all year, next
Yeah.
year. So Yeah.
Yeah, and your ranking drops,
Yeah.
and your ranking drops, and then you're toast. Yeah, great advice, man. I think all of that was just fantastic advice. Uh, again, uh, Pasha's been doing this for a long time. Great advice. Focus on really making sure you have all those attributes covered to stay relevant in both Cosmo and Rufus. Make sure that you're presenting your product well, and always have a point of differentiation. If you don't have a point of differentiation, there's really not a lot you can do. Then you're just focused on price. Then you're just banging your head against the wall against somebody else who's got a lower price, and that's just never a good way of doing it. So thanks everybody for joining in. I hope this helped. Subscribe to the channel, Crunching Your Growth. Watch us on E360 TV every week. Drop your questions for Pasha in the comments. I'm also going to have a free download in the comment section that we'll share. And again, if you think that this helped, share it with a founder who's feeling this algorithm whiplash. And I'm Phil Masiello, and I will